All right, y'all, we're going to talk about a mortgage term that is not often spoke about, and that is ARMs, or adjustable rate mortgages, and what exactly they mean. And we'll talk maybe about some pros and cons. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Kim McBride, also known as Get Keys with Kim. I'm a licensed associate broker, as well as a broker in real estate in Maryland, DC, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and the Dominican Republic. Let's talk about it, y'all. So initially, when you get what's called a traditional loan, you have a fixed interest rate, and that interest rate remains the same for the entire life of the loan, unless you do something like refinance, in which you change the loan terms, and sometimes you even change the interest rate. However, when you start out with an ARM, or an adjustable rate mortgage, after a certain period of time, that interest rate does not remain the same. It does change. So that initial term or initial time frame could be anywhere from like 3 years or 5 years or 7 years or even 10 years. And in cases where you have that 5-1 ARM, what that means is for the first 5 years it's fixed, and then the interest rate is going to adjust every year. So that's the one. So 5 years, that's how long it's fixed. The one is for how often it's going to change. And so that change can go up, so the interest rate could increase, or it can go down or decrease. And that is all going to depend on the state of the market. And I know some people are like, well, why would anybody want to get an adjustable rate mortgage? Why would anybody want to get an ARM? And so it really depends. So some people like the idea of having their first few payments, depending on how long the fixed term is, whether it's 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, to be less, because usually when an ARM's initial fixed rate is usually cheaper and less than a traditional loan. So they are paying less on a monthly basis than they would if they had a traditional loan. So that is one reason. But sometimes people may choose to maybe relocate, or they know that they're not going to be keeping the property very long. They know it's only going to be like less than 3 years or something like that. And there are some people that have a belief or follow the market well enough that they can predict, right, that interest rates will be less in the future. And so they're like, well, I'll just refinance at a lower rate in the future. The biggest risk with ARMs is the obvious, and that is that the interest rate can be adjusted, which means that your monthly mortgage payment can be adjusted. Now, it could go down, and that could be a great thing, or it can increase, and that would probably not be so great. The good thing to know is that there are caps on how high that interest rate can go, so it's not going to be like an endless increase on the interest rate. At some point in time, there will be a cap. So there are two options there. There is something known as an adjustment cap, and that's a cap per change. And then there's something known as a lifetime cap, which says this is the maximum that you'll ever be charged as far as the increase is concerned in your interest rate, and not necessarily your payment, but the increase in that rate. I hope that makes sense. And then adjustment cap, that per change is per period, right? What they're trying to prevent, the lender in essence, is a shock payment, right? Where you go from, let's say, paying $800 a month to now you're paying $1,900 a month. And so there is an adjustment period that's usually 6 to 12 months. So there is a cap that says, hey, during this adjustment period, we can only go up but so much during this time. And then, of course, there is the lifetime cap that puts a maximum amount that the interest rate can increase during the life of the loan. And I always say to folks, ARMs are not good or bad. It is just a type of mortgage. The real question is, does it fit your needs long term? If it doesn't, then it's not good for you. If it does, then it is good for you. But nonetheless, you're just that much smarter. I hope you've learned something new today. If you have, feel free to go ahead and hit that like button. Come back, share, comment, ask your questions. Follow me if you're not already following me. Make it a great day on purpose, even if it's trying to rain on your parade. You see this? And then do what? Get keys with Kim. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye, y'all. Deuces.